Hello, everybody. Michael Sherlock here with Shock Your Potential. And I had to laugh at myself because it's pretty funny about how this camera is. So I was trying to fix my bangs and get them out of my eyes. And I know which way they normally go, but since the camera is backwards, I was moving my hair around. It was pretty interesting. So, hey, I have been having a lot of fun with these Friday live broadcasts. And last week we took some questions from some people that were in job transition and looking for new jobs. This week I took the questions from my own team. And now that I've been thinking about it, I'm thinking this is very interesting that it came from my own team. We meet every Wednesday and we have a all team meeting. And so I was like, oh, let's have some ideas. What do you think the topic should be? And they all came up with this question. When you find it difficult to speak to a colleague or your boss about an issue or maybe an idea that you want to bring up, how do you do that? And afterward, I thought about this. I thought we should have probably actually talked about this in our weekly team meeting since they brought it up. So yeah, we'll just dive into it now. It's a great question because I know that there's often people that are a little nervous about broaching subjects that they may not be certain how they'll be received. So, let's give an example. So maybe you have an issue with a coworker or a colleague and you want to, talk to them about it and it's kind of sensitive or you don't know where to start. Or in the case of at least one of my team, I know that one of my team members has an idea she wants to bring to me. And for some reason, maybe I make her intimidated. So I don't know why. So I thought this was a great time to talk about how we get more comfortable in dialogues like this. So the first thing that, when you're talking about communicating with anyone, it's really it's important first that you understand why you have concerns. So let's say it's with bringing an issue to a colleague. If you have hesitancy there, it's probably because maybe you're not sure how they're going to take it. Maybe it's a sensitive issue. And so it's important that you're really aware of what's holding you back or making you uncomfortable, because that's something that you need to pay attention to, just to be aware of. But when you then take it to the next level and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and have this conversation, then you want to start thinking about details. So first, one of the most important details that I think about is my communication style. Like, how do I normally broach sensitive issues with anybody? And not only, how do I do it, but using that time to reflect. Am I going to handle this well? Am I going to take time? Am I going to maybe fly off the handle? I know what my communication style is now. I've worked through it enough years. But then I also have to think about, does my communication style match or work well with the person that I'm going to communicate with? And why is this important? Well, because we do have to meet people where they are. And that means that if my approach is, really fast, get to the matter, throw it at them really quickly, and they're a person who it takes time maybe to reflect a little more slowly, maybe they're intimidated by a lot of information coming at them at once, then it really falls to me to make sure that I'm trying to match their communication style. And through that process, I will make them not only feel more respected, but I will help them to deal with maybe sometimes information that's not going to be pleasant. So understanding yourself and understanding that other person is really critical to showing respect, especially if it's a difficult issue. So the next thing that I suggest all the time is to really think about what you want to say. And that means write it down. Take the time to actually write down what you want to accomplish. So if it's an issue with a colleague that maybe there's a dynamic, then write it down. I want to have better communication skills with this person. I need this person to communicate more effectively with me. I want to partner with this person for what they're doing in their job, and I need to learn from them. So writing it down and being very specific. If you're trying to bring an idea that's something new to somebody, then say, I think it's important that I have this dialogue with my boss because This could be great for the company. This will give me an opportunity to show what I'm capable of. This is part of my, developmental plan where I want to, really have them see what I can do. So when you write that down, you're going to get really clear about why you want to have this conversation. And then in the writing down, you're actually going to get very clear about what you're going to say in this conversation, which leads right into my next tip, which is practice. Practice. Whether it's a difficult conversation or not, if it's something that you're nervous about, then practice, whether that's just yourself in front of the mirror or whether that is working with somebody to listen and say, hey, yeah, let me give you some feedback on that. Practice helps you to prepare for how you want to say the words you're going to say, which is really important to remember that what you say is really impacted by how you say it. So the verbiage that you use, the tone that you use, the facial expressions that you use will convey a different message. And it's important that you pay attention to that. And practice really does make perfect with that. I was thinking just yesterday, every once in a while during my lunch, I'll go up and have my lunch. And if it's beautiful out, we'll eat outside. And if not, I'll sit in front of the TV and watch old episodes of Friends. And I was thinking about this episode the other day where Chandler was trying to smile. And every time he got in front of a camera, he'd make this really weird smile. But when he was just laughing without thinking about it, he had a real genuine smile. And so being aware of what you look like when you're really concentrating or when you're really trying to think through things may impact what your message is. The final tip that I have, though, is to remember no matter what, ask that person for the time ahead of time and give them a heads up about what you're going to discuss. So let's say that you're going to have a discussion with somebody about something that might be a little uncomfortable, to say, hey, I'd like to schedule, 15, 20 minutes with you later tomorrow. And I'm going to send you a meeting request. And I'd like to have this discussion because I want to talk about how we can communicate better as a team and how I can be of help to you. So, you're kind of delivering it. You're giving a heads up, like, communication is going to be the key issue, but I want to help you and I want us to do a better job for the company. So giving that kind of heads up will prepare the person so that they know what's coming. If you're going to bring, pardon me, my nose itches. If you're going to bring, that's probably not very good to do on a live broadcast, but I couldn't help it. And it totally loses my train of thought. But if you are going to go to your boss, for instance, and you want to share a new idea, the same thing. Like, hey, I really want to talk to you for a few minutes. I have a great new idea about how we can do something or one of the platforms that we're using. You don't have to go into details, but it would allow people to know what's coming and mentally prepare for that meeting, that dialogue that gets them in the right frame of mind. Those are really my top tips for making sure that communication is something that you get more and more comfortable with, because the more we have these these talks that we can have discussions that are beneficial to business, not only the better we get, but better companies run because of it. So thank you guys all for listening today. I see a few people that have popped in here and there. We'll have the replay available in a couple of our spots. And if you have a question you want to throw at me, send us an email at info@shockyourpotential.com. And hopefully I won't choke to death next time, info@shockyourpotential.com. And don't forget, if you have not downloaded our Shock Your Potential app, please do. We have so much material that is not only on there right now, but so many exciting things coming out in the next weeks and months to come that you will not want to miss it. So join us, shockyourpotential.com. And thanks, everybody. Have a great Friday.